Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode number 223, and the Fox is back on the show. Hello, Fox.
Hello, I'm back in London town. I had an amazing 6 weeks in Sydney, and it's all very busy. Hit the ground running since I've been home, but it's good to be back.
It is. It's good to have you back. We have got, as we promised, we have got some users' questions today. We've got quite a hodgepodge. I was going through the questions and I thought, is there a bit of a theme here? There's not. There's basically just three good questions. We're just going to have a look at them and see where we roll with it. But I was talking to Rachel before I came on the air about the tour, the UK tour that's currently happening. I just wanted to extend a thank you to all the people that have hosted the tour so far. It's spurred a few more seminars. If you own a gym and you want me to come and speak at your gym, it's not a problem. Get in touch. Obviously, we need to cover the fees and things like that. But I'm always up for travelling to locations and delivering seminars. And to the people that have attended the tour so far, thank you. It's been humbling. It's good. I'm about halfway through. It's exciting. But anyway, enough about me.
Very exciting. So where can people get tickets? Just on your website?
Yeah, Eventbrite. Or they can go to bencoomber.com, click on the seminar page. Please, no one book any more tickets for London. In fact, by the time this podcast airs, London will be done. The venue says they can't handle any more ticket sales, but it just goes to show where there is pockets of people. Yeah, granted, there's more people in the UK in London, like it's a dense place, but I wonder if there's almost a progressive mindset. So my hometown, like I used to be on the local radio in my hometown, fairly popular-ish around different places. The name is known, but I sold like 8 tickets for my home venue and had to cancel it. Whereas London, there's 80 people sort of knocking at the door going, let's go. So I don't know, I just thought that was really interesting.
I think it's more of a competitive mindset in London. It's Sydney, some people refer to it as the rat race, but I think it's cool. I think you have a lot more like-minded people, and there are pockets, I think, in different countries, in different cities. I know, obviously I'm coming from Cardiff. I know like pockets of amazing trainers in Cardiff, and they seem to all be sort of doing and studying the same things because they're that way inclined and they have that mindset. So come on, other cities, get with it,
Yeah, Cardiff is currently a good seller. So is Leeds. So is Manchester. So is Edinburgh. So there's like I know it's the big cities and there's people that live there. But I do think there's quite a progressive mindset of there's a bit more of a career focus. Like I want to be better, I want to be healthier. So I just think it's interesting.
And it doesn't matter if you have to commute to get to a seminar. God, an hour commute to a seminar is nothing. I can't tell you how many times I've flown to the US. I've flown to New Zealand. I've flown all over the world to see people do internships with people who I wanted to spend time with. So really, distance is no option. So if you've got something in a town that's coming near to you, well then really, it's down to you to make the effort. You can't just wait for the presenter to come to you.
When I'm in my seminars, there's a couple of points where the tour that I'm currently trying to teach is very much about, look, don't skip over everything. The basics are really important, but it's real kind of like a massive reality check for a lot of people. And a ticket to the current tour is £45. And I explain it to people like this. For me, and this is the same with the podcast, there is a lot of life-changing information that I'm going to share. And I put it this way, think about concentration. A lot of people don't always feel that energized. They can't concentrate properly. No. They wish they could focus more at work and on their job and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, look, let's say you're a person that has really good concentration in the morning till lunchtime. And then lunchtime, their concentration sucks from 2 till 6. And then they get another little burst of energy. Well, what if I can change how you can concentrate and perform from 2 till 6 in the day? And whether you've got a job, whether you're self-employed, whatever you do, if I can make you a better performing human by making you be able to concentrate more, that means you're better at your job, you get more job satisfaction, you probably get things done quicker and you don't have to stay late at work. All these different things, all these little things that we change, better sleep, better concentration, better energy, better motivation, all these little tweaks add up into a massive life value.
And that's which is worth 1,000 times £45.
Yeah.
and a bit of time attending a seminar. And this is what we have to weigh up, like what's really important to you. And, I think a lot of the time, like if we just look at fat loss, for example, people say, oh, well, I want to lose 20 kilos. Well, why is it that you want to lose 20 kilos? You have the obvious questions of, well, I want to look better, etc., etc. But really, if we break it down on a day-to-day level, it's how you feel on a day-to-day level. It's how you feel in yourself. It's how much energy you have. It's how confident you feel. That feeling is more important, but people don't associate with that because it's boring to them to think about that. It's more exciting to them to think about something bigger. But yeah, anyway, we digress again.
Right, questions.
Should we begin? Let's begin. Okay, so here is question 1 of random podcast questions. This question is from Tracy. Hi Ben and Rachel, I love all of your podcasts and it's weird. I listen to them over and over and I have come to find Ben's voice very therapeutic. Hey, what about my voice? My Welsh accent. Sorry, I digress.
Only mine.
Only yours. Anyway, I've been on a health and fitness journey for 3 to 4 years now. I started off lifting and low carbing, which was also low calorie, and I lost around 14 pounds. And I started to feel good about myself. And then I started to track calories a bit and bring some more carbs back in, as I saw the error of my ways. At this point, my period disappeared and it didn't come back. I got leaner, where I had visible abs but not lean legs. But after 3.5 months, I still didn't have my period, and I raised my calories up slowly and still didn't gain, and still my period didn't return. Eventually, after a holiday and feeling disappointed with things, I gained back a lot of my weight, and then my periods came back. So after 6 months of maintaining a period and gaining some muscle, I wanted to diet again, with a less strict approach guided by a coach. However, around the same weight, I lost my period again. I was still losing at around 1.5 pounds a week. So again, this went on for 6 to 7 months, if not more, without a period. Before deciding I should go to the doctors, who couldn't tell me why, and said that my blood work was just fine, and I should just gain the weight back. Really very helpful. Can you shed some light on this? I know you have had lots of women who run themselves into the ground, which I felt like I did the first time, but the second time the cardio was minimal. My calories never went below 1,700 calories, with a refeed of 2,200 once a week. Is this a hormonal thing? Am I destined to not go below a certain weight? When I diet down, I only go down to what is considered a healthy weight of 9.5 stone at 5'6", but I lose my period at a much higher weight than this. I'm aware my body may not believe that this is a healthy weight, but it is likely. But is it likely to be this, or a case of the way that I have dieted and created a deficit that is too much for my body, or is there something that I can do to support my hormonal system during this dieting phase? Any advice would be much appreciated, as I know amenorrhea can decrease bone density and cause infertility. So at the moment, I feel I have to maintain my body shape, and I'm very unhappy with because I'm risking my health. Thank you so much in advance if either of you can answer this on the show or reply to my email, Tracy.
So this is a really interesting one, and now we're kind of looking at the value of optimal health and where the human body needs to be to function optimally. Now, it's difficult to say what is the ideal. I don't know without seeing a picture whether you maybe have a slightly distorted view of what you want to be perfect. And whether you're happy with that. You haven't actually listed sort of a body fat level. I might do some maths in a minute while Rachel has a chat in a second about the 9 stone 5 thing. Now, if there's a certain level that you've tracked where your period leaves, goes, stops, then the body is telling us something. Now, I would want, as a coach, to look very critically about where you are right now and say, are you the healthiest you could humanly possibly be? Is stress in a really good place? Is your body in a good place? Are there any other symptoms? Do you suffer from anything else? Because if you're trying to go into a dieting phase and the body is not, quote unquote, in a good place, just ready to do it, ready to handle the stress, because remember, dieting is a stress. If it's not doing that and it's not in that place, then I would say, right, as a coach, I just want to get you mega, mega healthy. And that, I'm hoping, will improve your chances of being able to diet down and not have the same problem again. If that did happen, you diet down, same problem persists, then we have to sit back and go, is the body really telling it something? Is your body not destined to go that low? And it's the same with, physique prep and physique athletes. A guy will hit a certain point and his testosterone will go through the floor. He just won't feel horny, all the usual symptoms. Females just the same. They get to a low enough body fat percentage, the body goes, hang on a second, I don't have enough energy here to get, really good physical function, so I'm going to stop. So, that would kind of be my top line things of where I think is going wrong, and I'm sure Rachel's got something she might want to say.
Yeah, well, I have to work out everything in kilos. Sorry, I'm still not into the British pounds thing, having lived in Sydney for 10 years. So I've worked out that 9 stone 5 is about 59.5 kilos at 5'6". Now that, if you are quite muscular and very lean, that's very lean to be it that way. And I'll give you an example. So I'm 5'4" and a bit. Just under 5'5", and I weigh between 58 to 59 kilos, like year round. So usually about 59 kilos year round. Now I am very lean most of the time, and I fluctuate between that. And sometimes after a holiday, I'll go up to 61 kilos. But that tends to be where I sit. Now I have been training 4 years. Certainly since I was 13, I've been lifting weights, and so this is very much a lifestyle for me, and I've always been quite lean. I've never been overweight. Now, for me to maintain a weight like that is very easy. My calories are roughly between 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. Sometimes they go up to 3,000, depending on what I've been doing in a day. If I've had like long training sessions, etc., and it depends on the training phase. So when I look at someone like this who says they've been training for 3 to 4 years, you can only really gain a certain amount of muscle as a female in that time, and actually learning to lift and actually really learning to engage the muscle. We know nothing about Tracy's day job. Tracy may be working all hours of the day, and on top of that, training hard 7 days a week and doing cardio on top of that. So again, I'll use myself as an example, and some of my other clients who work corporate jobs. I would consider myself to have a corporate job working at a desk, because that's where I spend most of my time. I lift weights 4 days a week and I walk the rest of the time, and that is it. That is it. My weight training sessions last 45, maybe 50 minutes max. And when I leave the gym, I'm done. And when I see a client like Tracy, the first thing I think of is, okay, it may not be just down to the simple fact of weight. What is going on outside of that? Like how much stress is going on? How much mental, emotional stress is going on outside of this diet and training? And so I don't think it's necessarily a body weight issue. I think it's actually how quickly as well. Like, I mean, we don't know how quickly, Tracy, you've tried to drop weight. Your ideal body weight here, you said, is 59.5 kilos. At 5'6" is very lean, very, very lean. And that's if you have muscle. But if you're sitting currently at 75 kilos and you're dropping 15 kilos very quickly, then that is a big stress on the body. Now you're saying you dropped 1.5 pounds a week.
Yeah.
1.5 pounds a week over a 6-month period. That's a lot of weight to drop over, consistently over a period of time. I would also look at sort of the mindset here around perhaps doing a bit of overwhelm, doing some perfectionism around the dieting, the fact that, you're sticking to 1,700 calories. And then your refeed is specifically 2,200 calories once a week. This is something that we need to kind of relax a little bit. And whilst it's good to have an idea of your caloric intake, of course, we need that. But to know exactly what your calories are on an exact basis is perhaps doing you a disservice if you're counting calories on a daily basis, on a daily and ongoing basis.
Yeah, I think there's two key things here: health of the body,
Yeah.
overall lifestyle, and does the body really want to be that lean? You know, there is quite a lean body weight. You might see that as ideal. Is it ideal? Only you can really kind of argue that point. But as a coach, I would want to look at that critically. And maybe you need to get an external point of view. Maybe you need to get the photo of you where you are 9 stone 5 at 5'6" and show it to loads of people and say, does that look like a healthy weight to you? And if people start to say, oh, I'd love to be that lean, you know, oh, that's really slim, that kind of stuff, then actually it might be too lean. Like that might be your ideal. Like I would love to have shredded six pack all year, but it's just not maintainable for me. I don't feel great. You know, you get knocks in sport easy, all that kind of stuff. So while I think it's the ideal, it is definitely not the ideal for my body.
That's a really good point, actually. So a lot of people who have let's just say they've done a diet, and they've gone from, let's just say for argument's sake, they've gone from 75 kilos to 65 kilos as a female. But to get themselves to 65 kilos, they worked themselves into the ground to get there. But they got there and they looked good, but they don't associate with actually how fucking miserable they were when they were there. Inevitably, because they got there with, methods that were not sustainable, inevitably, like, the weight gain comes back. When I often speak to these ladies, and Ben, I'm sure you do too, and so do your coaches, they'll often say, oh, but I want to get back to 65 kilos because I felt really good there. But if you dig deeper, did you actually really feel really good when you were there? Like, how are your moods? How was your energy? What did it really feel like on a day-to-day basis? Because a lot of the time, those days where you were 65 kilos were filled with anxiety. They were filled with overwhelm. They were filled with guilt because you ate a bad food for that day. And that's no way to live. So there needs to be a balance between the two where, you know, I think it's important for you to have a weight range to be in. Like I said earlier, you know, I travel a lot. My weight is never the same every single day. It sits between 58, 59 to sometimes 61 kilos, like if I've been on holiday and I've been eating and drinking. If it goes beyond that, then I know I've had a damn good time and it's time for me to rein it in, you know, when I come back. But it's about having a weight range, and that's really important as a female and actually as a male as well, to have a range, not just a set number that you are, because who you are is not defined by a number on a scale. It's fine to have a goal and it's fine to have a weight range, but it's not fine to just have one number.
Something to bear in mind when you come out of the back of a diet as well is that, and I don't think people are critical enough of their training, but training is an incredible way to alter body composition. That's why we do it. Now, when we go on a diet, we go lower. Training usually suffers a little bit because there's less in the tank, etc. Now, when you come out of that diet and you start to bring more food back into the diet, there should almost be a double whammy effect in that your body will start to perform better, but let's say you give it an extra 300, 400, 500, 600 calories when you come out of the diet. You should then be able to keep those calories going up higher and higher again if you follow the approach that I've laid out many a times in my video, How to Increase Your Calorie Ceiling, and where we've talked about this on the podcast. Now, if I take an hour's gym session in a diet, let's say I do 20 sets of working volume, and that's kind of my capacity within my calorie remit and where I am right now. If I come out of a diet and increase those calories, I should start being able to do 25 working sets, 30 working sets, 35. I should be able to put in a little bit of really hard conditioning in at the end for 6 to 8 minutes because I've got it in the tank. Now, if I've got it in the tank, I'm now burning more in a given hour, which means I can eat more later on in the day. And I know that's a goal of many people, to be able to eat as much as humanly possible because we all enjoy food without getting fat. So I think you need to be critical. It's not about doing more. It's not about being in the gym for an extra half an hour. It's about shortening your rest periods, looking at quality work, getting in your mobility in between sets, and then really as your session starts to ramp, getting more and more volume and more work in the session. So rather than burning 300 calories, you're starting to burn 400, 500, 550, 600, etc. And that is what will make the body really respond, and you'll enjoy your nutrition more because you'll have more flexibility.
I agree.
Boom. Right. Question 2.
Question 2 of random podcast questions. So this question is from Johnny. Hello, Ben and Rachel. I have my partner to thank for introducing me to your podcasts. She has been playing them non-stop in our office for the past few weeks. So first, massive thanks for all you're doing, your ongoing advice and knowledge sharing. It's great that you really hone in on wellness and doing what is best for your body in an industry that seems so obsessed with aesthetics, sometimes at the cost of your health and supplements. It is so easy to get bogged down in all of the information that we have bombarded towards us. Yet really, from what I've learned from you guys, it's not actually as complicated as most would have you know. Anyway, to my question. I'm a 6-foot male currently weighing in at 11.5 stone with a body fat of 13.1%, at the time of going to print, as they say. I'm a very hard gainer. I can eat and eat and eat and not gain. I started my gym journey in September 2013, and I was initially gulping down Maxi Muscle Pro Gain, in addition to 1,000 calories and eating everything in sight, mostly clean as I'm lucky to have a personal chef in the form of my girlfriend. I started at 10 stone 8 with a body fat reading of 13.9. Obviously, this has changed throughout the 2 years. I have managed to gain in muscle, but because I run my own business, there have been some blips in my training. Nothing massive, but because I have such trouble gaining, a week or so without me eating so much and not getting to the gym can have quite a big impact. I'm not aiming for anything incredible, but I'd like to see more definition. And I'm forever trying to build my arms as I'm naturally a skinny guy, and these are my worst, and they are my worst area. From January this year, I went vegan, although I prefer to say plant-based as we still eat honey and wear leather, due to my partner also going plant-based to sort out her IBS, which left her hospitalised. Since going plant-based, her IBS is completely gone, which has brought advantages in that my eczema, which was also chronic, has completely cleared up. I have loads more energy, I sleep better, my teeth are whiter and my hair is thicker. I've lost a little weight, but not as bad as expected. Considering I have lost a lot of protein out of my diet, I have remained as strong as when I ate heaps. My partner tries to incorporate as much protein as we can. We don't eat too many soy proteins as they are heavily processed, with lots of lentils, beans and leafy greens. We have a cheat day every now and again, and we might have fish or chicken when we really want it. We were massive carnivores before, so to be successful in this, we had to factor in some allowances. We've learned that when making a huge dietary change, if you really crave a bit of fish, chicken, or even an egg now and again, just have it. We point blank never have red meat and no dairy. The longer we go plant-based, the less we crave these foods though. I really want to be able to gain some more muscle, but unsure if this is now possible, as before I would just eat a heap of meat. In addition to this, I've been advised by my osteopath to reduce my weight and not lift above my body weight. I had a bad car accident 10 years ago, which has left a lot of pressure in my lower back. It feels like everything is being compressed. In the last year, I was really starting to notice the pain getting worse, and it's taking its toll on my neck as well. So I started seeing an osteopath in late June, and she's now given me the all clear as of this week. She's been a huge help, and I have a set of exercises to do daily along with a checkup if I need one. But she's mentioned earlier that she has strongly advised that I bring down the amount of weight that I push. Before I was squatting 140 kilos, but from early July, when I started right from the beginning at 20 kilos due to the osteopath, where I've now worked up to 70 kilos, where I am at this moment in time. So my question is this: considering my new way of eating and the reduced weight, is it going to be possible for me to get any bigger or stronger? Now that I've reduced the weight, should I increase the reps, as I'm really keen to get a bit bigger? Thanks for your thank you in advance for any help and advice you can offer me, Johnny.
So this is interesting. As I went through this question, my opinion changed a few times, and I think the key thing is here, or to answer your question directly, I actually think it's going to be easier for you. And the reason why I think it's going to be easier is I think you are now in a better place. Now, before you went on this vegan journey, you said that you had chronic eczema. Now, if you've got chronic eczema, you've got chronic inflammation in the gut. That means calories might not have been being absorbed effectively. And you said that you could have just eaten and not really an awful lot happened. So yes, you might have been a hard gainer. Yes, you might have had a high metabolism. Yes, you might have had a very adaptive metabolism, which we talked on last week's podcast with Lane Norton. But you're now in a good place, and I think that's a good thing. If you go on YouTube, there's all sorts of videos on vegan bodybuilders, what they do, how they try to optimize their nutrition, and ultimately, you only really need to be hitting for muscle building probably about 1.4 grams per pound of body weight. And you're going to be able to hit that from a vegan diet. Like we teach it on the Body Type Nutrition Academy. We go through a big phase where people have to go away and they have to work out all the best protein sources for a vegan diet and food combinations and build a diet plan for people. It's a little bit difficult at first. The students do struggle with it, but once they get it, they really do get it. So I think you're in quite a good shape. I would also now make sure you're changing your training quite regularly. I don't know how you did things before, but I would be changing your weight training program at least every 4 weeks. You've been training a while now. I'd start to consider you, a bit of an intermediate, maybe sort of verging on the era of advanced, just because you've got a lot of training under your belt. And ultimately, you could, if you had to and you wanted to only stick to body weight or light weights, you can get a huge amount of hypertrophy. It's an equation of volume, hard work, pushing the body, forcing it to grow, getting enough food down you. It can be that simple. But I would also get a few extra opinions on your physical ability. Now, some osteopaths I know are very cautious about training. They're like, well, and if they don't get strength training, they're in the back of their head, they're thinking, well, do you really need to lift 100 kilo? Like, what's the point, really? So a lot of physical therapists can err too much on the side of caution. So I always, attack things from a couple of different angles and ask different opinions. But, there's nothing wrong with you not ever squatting again and maybe just choosing a leg press and getting a bigger, stronger weight-based volume and strength stimulus from using a leg press. So that would kind of be where I'm at with that.
I've got a few things to say. So first of all, you don't necessarily, obviously with training, yes, variety is important and it's important to have, different stimulus. So you might use, like Ben said, a very heavy leg press instead of a heavy squat. But the truth is that, and I'm just going to elaborate on what you said earlier, you don't need to be lifting big weights to grow muscle. The most important thing is time and attention and the intention of the muscle group that you're trying to work. Now, I would strongly advise that you hire a coach who knows how to do this, because I'll go into gyms all around the world, and most of the guys in there are lifting way too heavy for their ability, and they look absolutely shocking. And you could literally half the weight. And if let's say for example, let's just take a bicep curl for example. You might do a bicep curl with 10 kilos, right? And you might be able to do, I don't know, say 15 to 20 reps with 10 kilos. Now you slow that down. You slow it down to a slow concentric and a slow eccentric, and you think of almost sort of pulling that dumbbell through mud and really putting your mind in the muscle and making the exercise as hard as you possibly can. That elicits a completely different response to just banging out a bicep curl 15 to 20 reps, just mindlessly, and you just go into the gym and you're ticking that box. Sometimes the worst reps, the worst rep range I find is that 6 to 8 rep range. That is a terrible rep range for me to work in, because it's so hard, and you have to keep your mind in the muscle for such a long period of time. 8 reps feels like forever. But that would be my piece of advice is, find a coach who can help you do this. And look, I don't work with vegans, so I'm not gonna comment. I think, Ben's coaches at Body Type Nutrition would probably be the best people to speak to. But what I will say, from working with vegetarians is you're gonna have to start educating yourself on this, and where are you going to get your nutrients from. And just wanted to make one note on the IBS here. So anyone listening and thinking of going vegan to help cure your IBS, I actually strongly recommend against that unless you have medical guidance in doing so, because the thing that I would say here is that Johnny's girlfriend may be completely intolerant to dairy, and so therefore by her going vegan, like, we don't know what it was that was setting her off, but whatever it was has worked. That's great for her, but this approach doesn't work for most people with IBS. You know, beans, lentils, all of those kind of foods, fermenting foods, they're all FODMAP-based foods. They can actually make your IBS significantly worse. So please be careful. If you have got IBS, please do not go down a vegan path, because it's one of the the least effective way of treating IBS. However, removing dairy from your diet if you have IBS is beneficial, can be beneficial.
Yeah, the vegan diet is not a solution to IBS. The solution to IBS is working out the trigger foods that are in your diet, and it's something that we have covered extensively on the show before. Right, I'm going to wrap up the show there. We're going to leave the last question. We might save that for a rainy day. It's been a tight half an hour, and I like that. And actually, there's been quite a nice common trend on today's show, with kind of just looking at the dieting framework and kind of real nuts and bolts today. It's kind of, today felt like it was about exploring a few things that some people are going to be struggling with, and I really like that. So Rachel, thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
For anyone that would like their question answered on the show, email bencoomber@gmail.com and you will get put into the mix if it's a good question. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on iTunes. It's Ben Coomber Radio. You know where it is. We've currently got 589 reviews on iTunes, and we roughly get 95,000 total downloads a month. So there's quite a lot of people that have not left a review, and I would really appreciate it if you left a review. This is a free show. More people discover it if you leave a review, if you help me by sharing it on Facebook, retweeting it. This is a valuable free resource. I would appreciate the help from anyone that is willing to give it. Right, who's on the show next week? I can't remember. Lane Norton was on last week. It was an incredible show. We've got more lined up. Phil Graham's coming on. Paul McGregor's coming on, talking about vanity and the ego. All sorts is going down. When Rachel will be back on the show, I don't know, because by the time we next record, Rachel will be a married woman.
I will be Madam Godfrey by the time we next speak. So yeah, we are going off we get married on the 17th of September. So I think this is going out before or after that? I'm not sure. Either way.
And what Rachel's basically hinted at, if you want to send her lots of presents around the 17th of September, she's very accepting of presents.
I will be in France, but I would like them on my doorstep when I come home. That would be lovely.
Right, that's us out, everyone. I will see you on Monday for another short, sharp show. Otherwise, I will be with you on a guest on Thursday. That's me out.
Ciao from me.
Ciao! Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode number 222. So it's a Monday show, it's shorter, it's sharper, and I am reading out a question